Simplified Chaos, episode 196.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hey everyone, welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian and I'm with my co-host and husband, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? Hope you all are having an amazing week. We've got another great episode here for you. We are counting down. We are down to our last 5 episodes of Simplified Chaos. Jilly, what are we getting down with this week?
We are continuing our evolving series and we're chatting about community, our people.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking a little bit how our community has evolved over the last couple of years. But before we dive into that, we love to show some gratitude before we get started. So, Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
I'm grateful for you, Boo.
What did I do?
You are super flexible.
Oh, yeah? Are you talking about our current setup right now?
Yes.
Our microphone arm broke right before setting up here, so we had to makeshift this setup here. So we're like sitting back on the floor like back in the old days of Simplified Chaos when we first started.
Full circle.
But at least we had a microphone back then, but now we've kind of jerry-rigged this thing. Is that even an appropriate term? I have no idea, but
I don't know.
Yeah, the microphone is upside down what it normally is, and we're making it work.
Upside down and inside out. Yeah, we're going to turn this podcast up. Oh, damn it, I missed what I was going to say.
That was not. We're not going to cut that one out either.
I know, we don't edit things out. Damn it. I thought I was going to really pull that one off. Anyway, I am grateful that you were just willing to flow with it. And I know you're not super comfortable right now.
No.
And we're on the floor like we were when we first started. And it's kind of bittersweet.
It will be. We're going to get this thing figured out. Maybe we'll have some new microphones soon.
Oh, it's going to be great. Yeah, it's just a reason. And we knew like this microphone wasn't going to last much longer. So I feel like we really wore it to death. And it literally was like, I've had it.
Yeah. Well, still good mic. Just
it is.
We need something to prop it on.
We'll have to get creative and figure out some kind of cool standing situation. But yeah, I'm glad the microphone still works.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I'm grateful for the random Monday evening happy hour that occurred at our neighbor's house yesterday.
That was pretty wild and magical. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good times. We have a neighbor who has a daughter the same age as Lucille, which is awesome because they just absolutely love playing with each other. And we actually had a date night with this couple over the past weekend and had an awesome time here. But on Monday, they were like, yeah, the daughter's outside playing. Want to know if Lucille wants to come over. And by the way, we're making old fashions. We're like, yeah, we'll be there in 5 minutes. And so we got ready and headed over and just had a really nice evening. The weather is starting to turn here and it's really nice. And so it was just good to be out in the sun, good to watch the kids Tokyo drifting in their power wheels or whatever they're called anymore.
It was seriously like driver's ed out there.
Yeah.
Like the cones and everything. They were like reversing and it was just wild to watch them do that really skillfully.
Yeah, no, they're getting really good. So no, it was an awesome afternoon, awesome evening, a little change of pace than normal. So it was just really good.
Yeah, I completely forgot about our double date. That is something truly to recognize. The gratitude that this community, thus we're talking about community.
Which is a good segue into what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, the fact that our neighbors found a babysitter on care.com with great reviews, which it's funny, like I've never had to pay for an actual babysitter. And I was telling Nick, I was like, I've never met this girl. I'm going to let my mom anxiety just expel from me. Like, it's okay. And we met the babysitter and she was amazing. And she was just telling us a little bit about herself. And she sent us pictures throughout the night. And Lucille even told me, she's like, Mom, when are you guys going out again? I really want to have another babysitter. And I'm like, that's a great sign, So I'm proud of me for letting that happen. I feel like it was hard, but not so hard. But it was just still like, that's the first time. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm grateful for our neighbors setting that up, picking the restaurant.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty fabulous evening
It
together.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So community, we were already talking a little bit about that, but we're going to talk about how our community has changed, how our idea of community has changed over the last few years. So Jilly, take it away.
Well, did you want to start with the episodes?
Oh yeah, I always usually do that. My mind is all over the place right now with this setup here. So yeah, a couple of episodes you can check out before or after diving into this episode. It really doesn't matter. But episode 135, which was called Finding Your People, and then episode 152, Simplifying Hosting Guests. And we've been doing a lot of that. So we've got a lot to talk about. So yeah.
Yeah. So funny story in the beginning of Finding Your People, which is like a really, really good episode. I went back and like re-listened to it. I'm like, damn, this
Do
is
your
like,
homework, y'all.
this is a golden nugget that I need to keep listening to just as that reminder to confidently grow into who we are authentically and just attract the kind of people that who we are, you know what I mean? Like putting our values out there, putting our personality out there, putting our vibe or weird, and then just seeing what comes of that. And I feel like we're staying pretty true to that. And it was funny, the gratitude segment for that episode, Lucille was in a crazy season of why. Like asking why about everything. Like,
She's
why?
still in a crazy
Why?
season of why.
But now her questions are a lot more specific. There's like how, what, when, you know, there's not just why. Why?
I still feel like that's her default answer though.
It could be.
Either that or no.
But just reflecting that why is a really great question to keep asking. Like, why do I surround myself with these people? And to constantly think about that. Like, am I choosing the people around me, or is it just that they're there? You know, and I feel like being really purposeful about who we surround ourselves with and taking time and attention to, you know, reflect on that and to pursue the people that uplift us and love us and embrace our weird and to keep that going. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, our situation has obviously changed since we recorded those episodes. We've moved to Virginia, although we may have already been in Virginia when those episodes were recorded, now that I think about it.
It was. So it's like I feel like it wasn't like...
Which was a good trigger for those episodes because we were starting to build a community.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole reason why, because we had company who came and visited us, Bev and Kev, and we were just reflecting on like how much we love the people that have come to spend time with us and how we've kind of developed, we've noticed similarities or attributes about the people that have come into our life. Like, for example, we were saying that some commonalities, like the people we've been hanging out with have a growth mindset. They're kind, they have a sense of humor, they're really flexible, nimble, as you like to put it.
Yeah.
They put in like the equal effort to make connection happen. They're, you know, they own their weirdness. They're very authentic. They're uplifting. They're grateful. We find them inspiring. Like we just named off, and you were mentioning like they love good food, nature, you know, our values are similar. So I feel like we've really honed that in and our community has probably grown a little bit more now that we have new addition to the community. Like that other side over there, we've met new people that we went on a double date with. I mean, I feel like we haven't known them that long, but I feel like we just put ourselves out there. They put themselves out there. We're like, this can work. So I feel like we haven't evolved that much, but I can sense that we've really grown into accepting unapologetically, like this is who we are. And if you don't dig it, it's okay. You know?
Yeah, I think where we have evolved has been the type of community that we're seeking out. And of course, a lot of them have those attributes, but I think there's like the community that we're building around Lucille and you know, the parents that we're meeting who are friends with Lucille, like that's a specific community. But I think we're also building community around like the local farmers and stuff around here and trying to raise awareness of, you know, them being in this area, trying to understand, you know, how they're raising their animals and whatnot, so that, you know, we're getting the most nourishing foods there, but also like just really promoting them within our own local community, saying, hey, you've got these people in your backyard. You don't always have to go to the grocery store to get everything you need. You can get stuff growing right here in Fluvanna County, Virginia. And you're just continuing to support local. So like we're buying a lot of local eggs, and we're talking with a lot more people that we just wouldn't normally do before. Like that just wasn't part of our everyday, but now we want to get to know them. We want to get to know their practices, and it's just been great. And I would say that our local farmers are becoming really good friends of ours.
Yeah, that's something vastly different than when we were in Maryland. We really didn't have relationships with the stores we went to, the products that we bought. Like I remember like when I went to Stanton, like just talking with the shop owners in Virginia, like for a long time, getting to know them, their story. And that, I feel like that has been kind of happening ever since we moved to this area. It's like people aren't rushing. It's not fast paced. So you're right. We totally are making relationships in other areas that I really did not see coming. Like you said, we're really close with our farmers now and their extended family. And, like even where the candles that we buy, like when we go to the farmer's market, we get to talk to the person who actually makes them. Like it's so kind of surreal that we are able to literally talk to the maker and the creator behind what we're consuming, which is pretty...
Jams.
And jams. Yes, Dan's Jams, man.
Dan's Jams. Fantastic.
Oh my God, so good. But yeah, even going to the butcher and, you know, talking to them about where the meat comes from.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's really cool to be able to have those type of connections. And you're right. We definitely didn't have anything like that 5 years ago.
No.
4 years ago.
Yeah. So we're definitely, and again, you know, Lucille was only a baby 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So she didn't have friends yet. You know, her friends were our neighbors. And, you know, now that we're seeking out community and we're meeting people at events that we're going to, different kinds of classes that you're signing Lucille up for at the park. We're just meeting people. I mean, you've made some really great relationships of people just that you've seen at the park and then you continue to see in other settings. So it's just been really cool how we've been able to build our community locally here in our neighborhood, but within, like, I would say the greater Charlottesville area, because your community certainly extends well north of the city, well inside of the city, well outside of the city. So it's just been really cool that we've been able to cover a lot of ground in just a couple of years.
Yeah, and it's really different than when it was in Maryland, because the community I had was literally friends that I either played sports with, played college softball with, you know, they're high school friends, or they grew up in my neighborhood, and we had great relationships and we saw each other, and it was just becoming like less and less because people were having families and all that stuff. But that was kind of the essence of what it was. It was like we knew each other. We would get together during holidays. But here I feel like the more I seek out and build relationships and put myself out there and connect with other people, it leads to other doorways opening and opportunities opening that I never would have saw, like opportunities for work or opportunities for travel or opportunities just for play and adventures. Like, it's so different here where like I connect with someone and they're like, oh, I do this. Would you be interested in A, B, or C? And it's like, wow, that just happened because I just started talking to one person and now we have a friendship and now they're offering me this, or saying, hey, there's this really cool event. Do you want to come with me? And it's been really wild just to see that correlation of like putting yourself out there, connecting with people in this area, and then having these doors open to things that are really fucking exciting. Yeah. And I know it hasn't happened to you as much as me, just because, you know, you are working at home and doing the thing. So I hope I'm doing good work for us both, Nick.
You are. You absolutely are. I mean, we just talked about the date night that we had this past weekend with some neighbors, and it was just amazing. Like we connect with them on so many different levels, and the conversation is great. We just had an awesome time. And so, yeah, I'm slowly but surely building my community down here. I still very much connect with my community back home. I have a lot of connection through work. Obviously, I'm on calls all day, not all day, but, you know, I'm connecting with a lot of people.
Babes.
Yeah, exactly.
Babes
on the internet. But yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, the connection has been great. And I would even say, you know, coworkers as a community, and we all share a lot of like-mindedness. We're all in the same mission together. You know, we all have a common goal that we're trying to achieve as an organization. And it really, we feel like a community. We're team members, communities, whatever we want to call it. But it's just, you know, we continue to build. And even though we're not present together in one office, we were able to still build that community through connection through video, which I'm so grateful for. I mean, I know it was a crazy transition, at the beginning of the pandemic from, being in person to being on videos the entire time. But like, I don't have what they call like the Zoom fatigue or anything like that anymore. Like that being on video is now part of the everyday work experience. And I like it. I enjoy the connection. I know that's not for everybody, but I enjoy when somebody else has their camera on. I'm able to see their face. If their kids come in the background or their pets or whatever it is, just having that connection has just been awesome.
Yeah. No, I remember what it was like virtual teaching, and I still loved it. It was just neat. And I don't know if that's the same with adults. I feel like with kids, it was like they felt more comfortable to be themselves right away because they are at home, literally at home. So I don't know if that's similar. Like you notice people are more outgoing or more themselves when they're virtually than when they're in the office. I don't know if you've ever noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're in a more relaxed setting at home where you can kind of let your guard down. Most people are wearing some kind of spandex or joggers or whatever when they're at home. Of course you got maybe a nice shirt on, but you're very comfortable down low. I will say that. But yeah, I mean, the big difference is when you're on the video, you're on the video. But when you're off, there's really no distractions, and you can get a lot done in those times. So, I mean, all of it's got its pros and cons. You can always, say what's good or what's bad about it, but it's just where we're at right now. And at this point, it's just making the best of the situation, and the situation isn't going to change anymore. Like it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like when we were in Maryland, like building our sense of community, I really didn't work hard to build it because I was like, I already have a group of friends.
Yes.
I'm born and raised here. To me, it wasn't really hard work. It wasn't really work to me. It was just like, I'll see them when I see them, or the next function we have, or the next baby shower or wedding. It was like, it is what it is. But here, I feel like we really put in the work to put ourselves out there to connect to people. And it's like really fun work though. So I'm not saying like building your community is like, oh, you just put your vibe out there and people just come to you. It's
Sometimes that can happen, but
I mean, totally.
You still have to work at it.
But yeah, like for me, I never really saw my role as like the connector, but someone even told me like, you're really good at like planning getaways. And they're like, seems to be your role in our crew. And I kind of like that. I'm like stepping into that role. Like I'm really good at like finding Airbnbs, and I kind of am embracing that and using that strength to kind of help bring us together and do things. Or like recently I just started, I got an idea from one of my other friends that I met here, and she had this really cool like ladies night out where she said, ladies gather together. They're constantly adding to the group. It was my journal.
Oh, it's like, what the hell is that?
And they take turns planning who's hosting or who's going to pick the next place. And I was like, that's a really freaking good idea. So I kind of took that idea because I thought it was brilliant. And with some other mom friends, I'm like, hey, what if we start a monthly mom hangout, and then we just take turns picking different activities or restaurants or whatever you want to get us out of our comfort zone, or just to get out of the house and just connect for a couple hours. So it's been really fun to step into a role that I really didn't know I was going to be good at, and just really have fun at it. So, and I'm sure that role could ebb and flow based on like who is added to the group, but it's just been fun to kind of like reflect on that. And like, this is really cool that I get to spend my time like planning out these things, because I get really giddy and excited about that. But also to go back, I feel like when making a community, we talked about this before, like definitely, I think this applies to a lot of things in life, just the quality over quantity. I'm not trying to make all the mom friends. I don't want to be the most popular, most liked. Like, I definitely seek out what those people who are in those attributes, or who I love their energy. They totally get me. I can be goofy and they don't get offended easily. Those people like I cherish, and I want to hold on to those relationships and treat really, really well. So I'm all about the quality of people for sure. Yeah.
And to your point, just to kind of repeat what you were saying, is that, yeah, when we were back in Maryland, it was very easy for us to not seek out new connections, because we had your sister or brother-in-law, their son living with us. Your mom was, constantly over because she was watching the kids. And then we had our group of friends that we would hang out with pretty often. So it was like we weren't seeking brand new connections. We were with a group that we really enjoyed spending time with. But yeah, we've gotten pushed into we moved to a new situation, and it is an opportunity for us to seek out people who really like truly accept us for who we are. They encourage our weirdness, and we continue to put that out there. And yeah, so it is kind of a fresh beginning. We've never really had that, and you've especially have done really well as far as embracing that. And I'm making some progress.
You are.
Yeah.
No, I think you're doing one. I can hear the conversations you have when you're on your work computer, and like you're just diving into like your experiments with like, you know, your workouts and like things you're doing in your personal life. So I love that you can trickle in that kind of connection in amongst work, which is something I don't get these days because I'm not going to work in that capacity and, you know, seeing the same coworkers time in and time out. And that's, again, like, I feel like we were always surrounded by so many amazing people being at work most of the day. It was like, it takes up a lot of your energy and time. So it's like, you didn't really have the bandwidth to like seek out new connections and like want to make new friends, or like, you know, it just, to me, I feel like I was just closed off because I'm like, I'm exhausted. I don't want to make the effort to do that. But here it's like, I feel like because we've slowed our life down, we have more time and energy to pursue relationships that really light us up. And we could see like something growing from that. And there was something that I think I stole from my friend Jess's therapist. And I said it in episode 135. And I loved it so much. And it makes me think about relationships that I build or relationships that I don't build. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people I've connected with and they're, you know, we're not really close or anything, which is fine. But something the therapist told her was that relationships aren't dissolving, they're evolving. And I think that's like the perfect quote to just help keep you moving on, whether or not something fizzles out or it gets stronger or what have you. It's just that life is meant to evolve. So our relationships are going to evolve with it. And it's not good or bad. It's just part of nature.
Yeah, I mean, you can only control what you can control in your own self, and you can't control others. So yeah, there's going to be relationships that maybe aren't what they used to be, but like you said, each person is evolving, and maybe it's just not that right point in life to have that relationship with that person, or at least have it as where it once was. But you never know. It can always come back full circle a little bit later on in life when things are more aligned. So like, that's the thing too. You never want to close any doors. You want to like always keep those relationships open, even if it's just something where you haven't talked to the person in 5 years. All of a sudden that person comes back in your life and it's like no time has passed. And so it's just a matter of just staying with them and just keeping an open mind. And you know, if the world is willing to it and you know the relationship sparks again, then yeah, by all means run back to it. But you know, make sure that the relationships that you have and the community that you're building is serving you at any given point of time.
Is serving you. No, it's so true. And I think one more thing that I've noticed has been, and we may have kind of already touched on it, that has really evolved, is just the fact that our community in the past was very much like proximity. Like if you were close to us, lived near us, that was our community. But now I feel like with the podcast, with Instagram, with just various things on the interwebs, I feel like we have connections and community in like various states.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to be able to actually go and visit them in person, and like go to Florida or go to Oregon, like all across the world. It's not the world, but like the United States. Well, yeah. So it's really cool to see how our community isn't just because of proximity. Our community is built and strong just from communicating and being ourselves through that communication and just keeping in touch, or just like, you know, sending a DM every once in a while. Or like recently I just sent a package to, a dear podcast listener, Kayla, shout out. And it was so cool to see that she got the package from like local goodies that I sent her from Virginia. And it's just neat to see that we have community all over. And it's I think because of the podcast, number one, that has made us truly be better at building community. So I thank this process. It's been a fun, exciting journey. We've grown a lot, and I'm grateful that it's helped build our people.
Yeah, and we thank you all for being a part of this journey with us,
Sure
and
thing.
you know, for tuning into us, whether it's weekly or when you have an opportunity. But we're just so grateful that we just have a community of so many like-minded folks, and we thrive off of you, and we hope that we will continue to have this relationship when we embark on our next endeavor, which we will be talking about soon. But yeah, wonderful community we have here.
Second, what you said, all is beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. Should we add anything else to that, or should we get into resources now that we've thanked our listeners? Do you have something else?
No. I was going to say the resource. I didn't even find a new one because on episode 135, if you go to
You're just spoiling all of 135.
If you go to episode, it was such a good one. If you go to episode 135, either listen to that or at least click on the blog post, the resource that we had for that one, because that was a really, really great resource. And I don't even want to say anything else. I'll just put that teaser out there.
Done.
But it was such a good one. And I'm like, I don't even want to find another one. Like, let's just revert back to that and let people listen to that and soak that in. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Do you have a quote of the day?
I do. This is a new one.
Ooh. Some freshness from Jilly.
Take up space with the people you think might be your people. Practice being open, saying what you feel, and being present with them. See how they react. The ones who stay with you in those moments of vulnerability, not judging you or criticizing you, are truly your people.
Amen. Good quote, Jilly.
Thanks.
Good find. You always do well with that.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. And what's the take action challenge for our folks today?
Evolve. Let your community evolve. However, it will evolve. Just know that it's completely natural.
Yeah. And we're going to take some speaking lessons before our next episode. We both have had some issues here today, so we apologize. We were a little frazzled with this whole mic thing. Well, maybe me more than Jilly, but it's all good.
Mistakes happen, Bill.
We figured it out. We've got a new little makeshift tripod stand here, whatever we want to call this. All right. Well, folks, that is going to do it for today's episode. Remember, we only have 4 episodes left after this one. So we hope you'll tune in, and we hope you will stick around for the big announcement at the very end of this. But if you like today's episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review or simply sharing this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation. Conversation leads to action, and action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See y'all later.